What's up, you guys? It is your boy Phoenix Brenton here, and welcome to today's video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the New York Giants. And I think this is kind of funny because it's like, I feel like I'm kind of just copy and pasting from last video that I made the New York Giants, which was, again, a year ago, where I considered them as one of the biggest underdogs. That's kind of what I can consider this team heading into this season as well. So either I do great with this prediction, or I don't, and I probably just don't consider them an underdog. It's one of the two. Before we get into today's video, like and subscribe. We're on the road to getting to 700 subscribers. I have nearly every single team of this series on my YouTube channel. But anyways, enough said. Let's get into the video. And I do want to mention this. I do kind of want to redo my Commanders video a little bit. Kind of just telling you my ceilings and floors, maybe, potentially. I don't think I'm actually going to do that, but I might explain a little bit more about how I feel about the Commanders. Maybe in terms of my predictions video. I might do that because, again, I think the Stephon Diggs thing kind of does throw a wrench into things in some capacity. But anyway, done with talking about the Commanders. So the Giants, they definitely, I think, had an underappreciated offseason. Like, first of all, the fact that they got a top 10 pick for Dexter Lawrence is insane. Like, I think the Bengals definitely overpaid for Dexter Lawrence because Dexter Lawrence is not worth a top 10 pick, I feel like. I mean, again, I don't know. Maybe in a redraft in 2019, maybe he would be still, maybe he'd be a top 10 pick, but I'm not sure. But you know what's funny as well? Dexter Lawrence was part of the OBJ trades, statistically. They went and got a pick about, 7 to 8 years later when that trade even happened, which I think is funny. I know that might not be an accurate number, but I digress. I do think I liked it. Like, I mean, they just went and added so many players. Like Tremaine Edmonds, Darnell Mooney, DJ Reader, Greg Newsome, Shelby Harris, Patrick Ricardo, Isaiah Likely, Daniel Falele, Calvin Austin III. Like, they went and added some serious players on this team, and even Adorius Robinson. So, I mean, they didn't really lose much of anything. Like, obviously, like Russell Wilson, maybe as like a backup, but that's kind of about it. And Bobby Okereke, who's still a free agent somehow. The whole linebacking market is just insane to me. Like, I mean, as a whole, like, it's crazy to think that, like, Joe Bitonio, Jawan Jennings, Hassan Reddick, Joey Bosa, Cam Robertson, Rob Heavenstein, like, there are so many players I'm so surprised are still UFEAs, in my opinion. And besides the Arvell Reese pick, which I'll talk about that a little bit later, they had a pretty good draft as well. Like, I like the fancy Moaga pick as much as they probably would have rather had. Who would they rather had? Oh yeah, Caleb Downs. Colton Hood was a great pick in round 2. Malachi Fields is nice depth at the receiving position in round 3, and they also got some depth at the trenches and a linebacker in Jack Kelly. So I really did like what they did during the offseason. Obviously, there were a couple of things I didn't like. The first thing I didn't like is the fact you went and drafted Arvell Reese with your 5th overall pick. The reason why I didn't like this that much is because that he's a linebacker slash edge player. And I'm not exactly sure how the Giants are going to really use him. Obviously, according to ESPN, they're going to have him as the linebacker, but I'm not 100% sure how that's going to go. Second of all, I'm also a little disappointed they didn't went and traded Kayvon Thibodeau. I mean, hey, he is a young, talented player he's right now 25 years old. He's young, he's decent. You could probably get a decent package for him. I don't understand why you're holding on to Kayvon Thibodeau when you're probably not going to sign him in free agency. Because he, I believe, is a free agent next year. So that's just stupid to me. But I honestly, like, again, outside of those things, I think I don't hate what this offense is going to look, or just this overall team is going to look like. Like, this team has some genuine talent on it. And now they have an actual head coach in John Harbaugh. I think this team is really, really good. Now, obviously, there is some concern with Malik Neighbors because Malik Neighbors has not really shown much of anything since his injury last season. So that's a bit of a concern. So you have some concerns of this team heading into the season, but still, I mean, I still like their receiving core, but I mean, they are genuinely missing a number one receiver because of Malik Neighbors, but I digress. But, I mean, outside of that, their offense is pretty darn good. I mean, you got Jackson Dart, you got Cam Scatterboot back, you got, obviously, like I said, a solid receiving core with players like Juju Smith-Schuster, Malachi Fields, Darnell Mooney, Darius Slayton, Calvin Austin III, obviously Malik Neighbors when healthy. Also, Isaiah Likely, I think, is a really nice tight end with pairing with Theo Johnson. I think that's a pretty good group. Obviously, Patrick Ricard at fullback. A very solid offensive line. Very interesting that they list Francis Manoy at guard. I was not expecting that, but I mean, I guess they do have pretty solid tackles. Andrew Thomas and Jeremy Muga. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Then their defensive line, maybe a little bit of a concern. I mean, Darius Alexander was a rookie last year, so hopefully you kind of hope for him to step up. Obviously, they went and got DJ Reader, who I think is a very decent player, and Shelby Harris, who's also a young piece. Obviously, I like their edge depth with Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Dual Carter, and an of linebackers Arbel Reese and Tremaine Edmonds, also Michael McFarland, with a pretty solid secondary in Greg Newsome, Dur Phillips, Poston Adebo, Tyler Newman, and Javon Holland. Or Javon Holland or something. I'm sorry if I pronounced any of these names wrong. Like, this roster is very, very good. Like, there's, like, nitpicks. Like, maybe they could use a better right tackle. Maybe they could use a better interior defensive line. Maybe they could use better corners. But, and, I mean, to be honest, the receiving drop-off from Malik Neighbors is quite concerning, in my opinion, at least. But I don't really hate this roster. I think this roster is very talented. I think it could go decently far if, obviously, Cam Scatterboot, Jackson Dart can step up, Malik Neighbors can stay healthy, like, obviously Joe Carter to take a little bit of a step up from last year, which only having 4 sacks last year. I know he did, I believe he recorded a lot more sacks during the 2025 season, if I'm, like, during this back half of it was when he was really starting to become a force to be reckoned with, but I digress. I do think he could be a pretty good player still, just be cautious. And, I mean, that's kind of all I have to say. I think the Giants are an underdog, and I think they have one of the probably the most underrated rosters in the league. Now, obviously, looking at the schedule, obviously do play a pretty tough division in the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Commanders. Yes, I'm not saying that wrong. All those teams have made it to the playoffs at least once in the past 2 years. And the Commanders made it to the NFC Championship game in the last 2 years. The Eagles have won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. And the Cowboys, they're the Cowboys. They're at least mediocre at worst. So obviously not including those division games, you have the Rams, you have the Titans, the Cardinals, the Saints, the Texans, the Jaguars, Colts, 49ers, Seahawks, Browns, and the Lions. Pretty hard schedule, not going to lie. They have some very tough teams to go up against. But besides that, I think this is a relatively pretty easy schedule. I mean, I would say this is not an easy schedule. Why am I saying that? But let's start off with this team's floor, which let's just get this out of the way. I think the entire division, except the the Commanders, I think you will split with no matter what, in my opinion. But the whole division will be sweeping you, like outside of that. So just to give you a bit of hindsight of how this is going to work. So, then you got week 2, because I don't know why they always play the Cowboys week 1. I think it's a Sunday night game even, which is stupid. The Rams will demolish you on the road. I don't think that's much of a question. I will have you beat the Titans and the Cardinals, though, at home. I do think the Saints can beat you on the road, or when you're at home. The Texans will certainly beat you on the road. Also, they have a bye week at week 8 in the AM. The Jaguars will beat you at home. The Colts will beat you on the road. The 49ers will beat you at home. The Seahawks will beat you on the road. I think that you will beat the Browns at home, but you will lose to the Lions on the road, and that is all your games. Putting their floor at literally what their record was, I believe, last year, right? In 4-13. So I guess worst case scenario, you literally go back to where you are. So literally what I'm saying is it's almost going up from here for New York. Then there's ceiling, and I think this is where the exciting part comes in. I do think they actually will split the series with every team except for the Commanders. I think that's the only team that they won't split with, because I actually think they might sweep the Commanders in their ceiling, but that's about it. Obviously, and also all the wins already applied from beforehand. Obviously, I do think the Rams will beat you still on the road regardless, but you will get the win at home against New Orleans. I think you'll still lose on the road against Houston. I think that's not really much of a question. I do think they have a shot to beat Jacksonville at home. I know that might be a little bit controversial. I think they can beat the Colts on the road. You still will lose to the 49ers at home. I think you'll still lose to the Seahawks on the road and the Lions on the road. So that puts their ceiling at 10-7. So probably at worst, this team can pretty much make a run for the division, or wild card spot at least. At worst, this team is probably contending for another top draft pick as they did last year, which I kind of extremely doubt that. Like, this team, if I'm not mistaken, has a similar floor and ceiling as the Tennessee Titans, which I also consider them to be one of the biggest underdogs heading into the season. Also, I kind of want to make a video of what, in my opinion, are like the top 5 biggest underdogs heading into the 2026 season. Like, this team kind of really motivates me to do that, because I do think that this team can be pretty slept on. And as I would say on this list, like, again, they have a great head coach in John Harbaugh. They have a great team. Like, I think this team is only going up from here. And I would be very surprised if this team finishes with 5 or less wins. I'd be kind of surprised if that happens. I would expect this team to win 6 to probably 10 to maybe 11 games. So that's what I would see. I mean, it's kind of similar. Like, it feels somewhat similar to the Chargers and that whole situation. Like, the Chargers, they had a pretty bad season. Then when a Harbaugh came to their team, they played pretty well and they made it to the playoffs. Obviously, then they got demolished right afterwards, but I digress. But that is it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoy. We are finally almost done with the series. We have 2 teams left, which is the Bengals and Seahawks. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.